Good morning. Today we're going to replace the fuel injection loom on this P1800E. Specifically, this is one of the later cars, and you can tell that instantly because if you look down here on the block, there is no thermal timer switch, and so everything's a lot easier in trying to set the car up anyway, but that means it's a late car. So the first thing we're going to do is actually eyeball the loom to make sure it looks pretty much correct. So let's just go in and look at the specific points there. So here we have the loom as it came from the maker in the UK. Obviously the ECU end. This comes up through the bulkhead, dead centre underneath the heater box intake. Then this one's nice and easy to identify. This goes to the 4 injectors and the coolant sensor in the front of the cylinder head. This one's another simple one. This is the distributor connection here, and of course down to the starter motor. Leaving us with this one, which goes out to the right hand inner wing. This bunch is to the relays, and you reuse the original Bosch plastic plug and put these connectors into that. Then we have the pressure sensor, the throttle pot switch, and finally the air intake temperature. So obviously what we haven't got here is the thermal timer switch, which is excellent because this isn't a thermal timer switch car, it's a late car. So that's all looking good, so we're kind of happy to start ripping out the loom on that. The other part of the loom that we get is this item here, which is actually the 5th injector. Just has its own little sub-loom. So our first task then is to clear some access into this area here so that we don't struggle to get the loom through the bulkhead. I've actually just loosened off these hoses just to make life easy, but to demonstrate, that hose comes off, draw it out from underneath the intake, and this hose comes off between the valve and the matrix. And now we should be able to see nicely, just down there is where the loom comes through the centre of the bulkhead. Okay, let's just pop off the heater hose, out with the 2 screws that secure the ECU to the bulkhead. And down it comes. And now we undo the clamp that holds the cable to the ECU. There it goes. And that then permits us to slide back there he goes, like that. Then we have 2 screws that keep a plug from coming off the ECU. So we just pop out those 2 gripper screws. One down. and that's the other one. Out comes a gripper. We can gently ease up the plug. There we go. Okay, and we're finished inside the car for the minute. Let's start with the easy one, which is the injector loom. So, 11mm socket, because of course this is all Bosch and therefore metric. That's off with the earth strap. Unplug number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1. You can see just how brittle all these rubber sheaths are, which is why he's replacing them. And finally, the coolant sensor. Then we just pop the grommet off of the injector rail. And draw it out from underneath everything. Okay, that's one bit of loom. Next, we go down to the distributor and simply unplug the 3-way that goes into the side of the distributor casing, and deep down we go to the starter motor. And draw that little loom out. Go, it goes there. And it finds its way up the side of the heater box. Underneath the main Volvo loom. There. And then finally, we're going to draw it this side so everything. We're going to draw it this side. Draws out in the same direction. There we go. So that's effectively the centre and the left side of the car done. Now we'll do the 5th injector. So off of there. There we go. That was actually noticeably loose, which won't have been giving it a particularly good earth. So there we go. We'll set the screw aside. So that's that one. We'll pull back all these. So first of all, the air temperature sensor, which goes around the back of the bonnet stay. There we go. The throttle pot sensor. Okay, let's take the other 2 relays out, just so it's easier to see their connections and work with them. Okay, so then finally the mid relay comes out. Like so. Okay, so we now have the last of the wiring easy to get at. There we go. Rear relay, mid relay, front relay. Like that. Okay, let's start marking these up a bit. One easy one is to fit the 5th injector cable back on immediately. Okay, there. So, if we tag the front relay 2 cables with a yellow, okay, and let's match those through on our new loom. Okay, so we are only concerned with one side of this loom, and that's this piece here is the fuel injection loom. This loom here is the car's power supply. So that's just the car's side of things. This is the fuel injection side of things. So, we've already got all that out of the way. We have this one at the back, which is a double, and I'm willing to bet that's this one here. So let's tag that red. And there. Okay. That's red, that's that one off. Then we have the single going out to the mid relay. So we'll tag that one black. Black there. Go. And that also has here this wire here, so I think we can probably reasonably tag that black as well. I think that makes a certain amount of logical sense, and it has in fact the piggyback as well, so that's double confirmation. There we go, so let's take that one off then. There we go, that's that. Which, no, I've got that one wrong. Just leaves us this double here. There we go, which corresponds to this double here. There we go. Excellent. There we are. There we go. Right. So we are now ready to withdraw the loom back into the car. Okay, we'll just put a bit of lubricant to allow the grommet to go through. Emma will pull down whilst we encourage the grommet to drop through the bulkhead. so now, okay, so now you can draw a bit more down. Okay, now grab the smallest wire there. That's it. And gently pull that through. Okay, go on, keep going. Grab this one and pull that through. Okay, that should that's it, come through. That's it. Now, try taking that plug through. Hang on, oh yeah, is that gone? Okay, steady. Okay, now try taking this one through. I have a feeling I'm just filming my head at the moment. Good. Okay, last one. Off you go. Good. So that now is the old loom out. In with the new loom. Oh, I do wonder though. I wonder if it will work that way. Okay, we're going to try it the opposite way round. So, in it goes. Yeah. Look at that. Well, that was easy. Okay, you'll finish down there, Em, for the minute. Okay, so let's get this out of the way first. Can you see that?
Yep.
That's to the distributor and the starter motor. So, take that through underneath the airbox, over the top. Go. This went, if you recall, underneath the Volvo loom. There we go, like that. Then we can give the Dizzy connector just a little spray of WD-40 and hook it up. There we go, that's the distributor hooked up. In fact, on this car, it had a piggyback connector on the starter motor one, so we'll just fit a piggyback to it. ready to go now. There we go, it's onto the starter motor, and then the starter trigger wire is onto it. Good. One down. Let's do the next easy one, which is of course the fuel injection side of things. And that goes underneath the brake transfer bar. Like so. And then up on top of the injector rail, and then we're going to take the air strap in first. We'll put a gentle curve into it. I'm just going to leave that finger tight for the minute until we see just how all the injector lines lie. Let's give each of the injector sockets a squirt of WD, and of course the coolant temperature sensor. When you first start up the engine, most of that WD is going to evaporate off. Okay, so that grommet locates into the injection bar, like so. We'll get a second one in as well, whilst we're at it. We'll just lubricate it a little bit, just so we can move the cable through the grommet easily and get in the perfect position. Okay, so let's now give that I think we're going to go underneath like that. Give that a nice curl, so we just pull back the sheath a bit. And plug it in. Pop the sheath over the top as you go along so you don't forget any of them. There we go, that's nice and neat. Okay, that's number 4 injector. Okay, get positive access to your plug. Slightly more easily said than done. There we go. Plug him in and make sure the sheath has popped over it neatly. Good, that's looking good. Number 2 injector. Almost got it in. There we go. And drop the the sheath over. Yep, that's neat. And finally, number one. Good. And then in goes the coolant temperature sensor. Make sure we take the right route for the new loom. There we go. There's that. So as I say, we've already got our fifth injector tied up. Okay, so we get the old plugs off. Going to be a little bit brutal with these because they're a bit older and manky, so they're not going to want to come out too easily. There. Okay, we use a little welding rod just to encourage it out. There it goes. Yeah, very seized in there. And let's get the other one off whilst we're at it. There it goes. And finally. Okay, let's just go and clean these up before we fit them. Okay, that's good. That's cleaned out the old scale that was in there. And now let's fit them. Goes there like that. And like that. And then this side. Snap them in. 1, 2. Good. So the yellow was on the front relay, like so. Yep. That's our 3 relays ready to go. So in with the yellow tagged pair into the front relay. I can now get rid of that tape. Then our black tag. Onto the mid relay. The piggyback. Onto that relay, and finally our red tag. There we go. Just lay down the loom. Like so. On its shroud. Okay, and now okay, so let's hook up the throttle pot connector. Now there is only one way it will go in, which is with the rounded edges towards you. It won't fit the other way, so that's easy. This one can go either way. So noting it's the short loom into the pressure sensor. If you fetch the old loom, pleasingly you'll note that it has all the wires labelled. This is number 4 at the top and number 15 at the bottom. Now if you look on the socket, you've got 4 at the top, 15 at the bottom. So you know this should go in this way round. That is with the rounded shoulder at the top and this side. Okay, so if you get this, the rounded shoulder now matches this. So it must go in that way round. In it goes. Okay. And the 5th injector. That's good. And finally let's get that earth looking like a nice turn. Yeah, that looks good to me. And secure it. There we go. Which only leaves us the two tasks of securing the grommet and reconnecting the heater hoses. Okay, let's reinstate the ECU. There's a couple of guide slots on each end of the plug, and then press it firmly home. There it goes. On goes the hair grip. Now that's interesting. So the new Loom, this plug, the holes where the hair grip screws used to go into are now a bigger diameter. I would say we're just going to do without it then. Slightly irritating, but it's not really a big issue. Okay, so we press the grommet down into its location. Slide the cover back over. On with the grip screw. Okay, and back in with the heater hoses. Touch of silicone grease always helps rather pleasingly. Go. Goes. Let's see if the car will start. Emma, fire it up. There we go. You've now just put in a brand new loom onto your fuel injected motor. What are the key areas then? Make sure you connect these two the right way round. Make sure this connector goes in the right way round. This is a bit confusing, the relay area, so make good notes as you do it. Everything else is easy.